Good morning, welcome to Journaling Through History. It's been a few weeks since I posted a video. I was involved with a leadership opportunity. It took me away and out of the office for the last 3 weeks, and then coming back I had lots of catching up to do, and I'm happy to say I'm back at Journaling Through History, back to journaling, back to my first love, and during this time has been an incredible opportunity just to wait upon the Lord and to receive what God has for me and to hear what He would want to minister to my heart. And one of the points that kind of just stood out to me in the last couple of minutes is, as it pertains to journaling is something that we can just do. It's not systematic. It doesn't have this formulated structure that we have to adhere to. It is a flow. It's like a river. Sometimes the river curves to the left, others to the right, and it just continues to carve its way out like the Grand Canyon. And you just never know where it's going to go. And it doesn't have to be like the California Aqueduct, a perfectly straight line. It has a lot of character to it, and God takes us on many adventures, like the children of Israel traveling through the wilderness. I'm sure they didn't travel in a straight line or in circles, but to left and right, like serpentine, and then back and forth and crisscross. They probably saw a lot of the wilderness during those 40 years in the wilderness. So with our journaling, we're just going to pick up where we were today. We're going to just skip forward for the last 3 weeks if you like to go back and journal, and maybe make it your own notes from where we last left off in Ephesians 4:11, and we're jumping ahead to Ephesians 6:12 this morning. In Ephesians 6:12 it says this, verse 10, "Finally, be strong in the Lord and in all His mighty power. Put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms." In verse 10, what stood out to me was, be strong in the Lord, in the power of His might. In all that we do, the challenges that we face, feast or famine, unemployment, employment, singleness, marriage, divorce, the loss of loved ones, whatever it is, God is saying that we can be strong in Him, in the power of His might, and we can persevere through these trials. And when these trials present themselves, like the character Job in the Bible, God says, put on the whole armor of God. This is what He's talking about here, being strong in the Lord. For there are three enemies that the Apostle Paul talks about here. He talks about the enemy of the world, which is the society apart from God. That is things that are going on around us. There is the flesh. That is our old nature, the sin nature that is within us before we were born again, before giving our heart and lives to Jesus Christ. The things that we gave ourselves over to, adultery, fornication, covetousness, whatever it might be, all those things that we associated with prior to giving our lives to God. These are the things of the flesh. And then, of course, there is the devil. God says that as believers, that's you and I, we do not fight for victory, hallelujah. We fight from victory. For the Word tells us that Jesus Christ has conquered the grave. He has conquered the enemy. He is victorious. The battle has already been won. And this is the position that we hold as Christians, a victorious position in Jesus Christ. So today, as you go forward this day, walk in victory. You have received the crown of victory. Like an Olympian with your gold medals, walk around proudly displaying your medals of victory. And this is the position that we have in Jesus. All throughout the Bible, we will see that God instructs us about this enemy that seeks to devour us, who is like a roaring lion, and that there is no reason for us to be caught off guard, because from Genesis to Revelations, time and time again, story after story, verse after verse, God gives us insight to what the enemy is, what kind of deceiver that he is, that he's cunning and he's deceptive, he's a liar, he's a falsifier, he's a tempter, and displays and articulates these characteristics so that we might be aware and alert, so that with our eyes we can see and recognize where the enemy lies. In my devotional, I read this. It says, when something comes into your attention, ask God whether or not it is a part of today's agenda. You might be going through your day-to-day and something pops into your mind, hey, I should be doing this, or hey, I got to be planning this vacation. Instead of getting caught up in the thought at the moment, how about giving the thought over to God and asking God, is this thought of you? Is the timing now? And I just release it to you, that it will come to fruition in its perfect timing, so that we're not absorbed trying to figure and plan everything out on our own time. For in the book of Ecclesiastes, it says there is a time for everything. Ecclesiastes, I think 3:1. There's a time for everything. The only way a servant can remain true to God is to be ready for the Lord's surprise visit. So as a servant, as a child of God, let us be on guard, be ready all the time. There's the parable of the 10 virgin women that are out in the field with lampstands. 5 of them were ready, 5 of them weren't. The 5 that were ready, they had extra oil, they were prepared. This is what was speaking to me, that let us be ready for when that surprise visit comes. We will not be caught off guard. If we are going to be ready for Jesus Christ, we have to stop being religious. Let's stop playing games. Let's stop playing church. Let's stop trying to build our religious portfolio or resume. Let's just be servants. Let's lead like Jesus. Let's be servant leaders, following after Jesus and putting aside the religious things of this world. And when we do so, well then, we will be ready for his return. We will be ready for when the enemy comes. We will be clear-minded, equipped, and ready to take on the temptations, the attacks, the persecutions of the enemy, because we will be in right standing. We will be walking in the victory of Jesus Christ. So today, Ephesians 6, verses 10 through 12, I encourage you to put on the full armor of God. Have a blessed day. If you have any prayer requests, please leave them in the comments. Otherwise, God bless you and have a good day.